This online module was created on the traditional country of the Wadawurrung people. We acknowledge them as traditional owners and pay our respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging. The training is part of a series of free videos provided by the Surf Coast Shire to assist community-run groups, clubs, and incorporated associations. The series covers the topics of fundraising and grants, attracting members and helpers, strategic planning and succession, financial management, and event planning. We hope they help you. Here's the aim of this session. The resources mentioned later in the session are listed on the web page where you found this module. Feel free to download them and use them. For volunteer groups and committees, financial management is more than just plus and minus, income and expenditure, or the books. We're going to look briefly at the wider context and examine ways to ensure the health of your group financially. Governance. It refers to how any organisation, including a nation, is run. It includes all the processes, systems, and controls that are used to safeguard and grow assets. That's from the United Nations Development Programme in 1997. Governance encompasses the system by which an organisation is controlled and operates, and the mechanisms by which it and its people are held to account. Ethics, risk management, compliance, and administration are all elements of governance. And that's from the Governance Institute of Australia's website. So, governance. It's really how we get stuff done, whether that's forming a committee, making decisions, or managing the finances. Good governance is not a formula. It's more a combination of things the committee does that create confidence and trust from the members and the wider community. What does it look like? It includes things like understandable decisions, clear communications, known goals or strategies, transparent procedures, and shared knowledge. So it should appear that there's nothing hidden, what's often called transparency. And a byproduct of good governance is trust. We'll look at just one aspect of good governance in this session, financial management. On a personal level, you're already doing financial management. It's about making decisions on money, regardless of how much or how little is involved. There is no single formula for success, but there is always a need for wisdom. At a group or club level, it covers all the aims, decisions, and work done to keep the group afloat as a bare minimum. Every group needs enough money to keep doing their thing. Otherwise, they fold. And sometimes there's a financial plan. A plan is a documented set of actions to get where you're aiming. Now, it could be argued that you need a financial strategy first, but that's another training session. It helps if you have a goal, It's too easy to drift if you don't have a target. The committee should all be aligned to the financial plan, which helps avoid rogue spending. Having a plan helps explain to the members what's being done and why, where you're going financially. And having a clear endpoint is important, the what and the when at least. As an example, it costs us $5,000 a year to run, so we need income of at least $5,000. Some smaller targets will help along the way. That can break the big tasks down. As an example, our plan depends on the income from memberships, the meat raffle, the door knock appeal, the big trivia night, the whatevers, and how much do we need to make on each. Then we can spend money on working bees, a kitchen upgrade, new uniforms, trips to the snow, the what we do things. And how much do we want to spend on each? The point is, you need clarity and simplicity. That helps transparency. But please understand, many in the group won't care, so long as it looks like you're organised and succeeding. By the way, that doesn't mean it's unimportant. You could take their lack of interest as a vote of confidence. So, now you've got the financial plan done, let's have a look at a really important aspect of governance that's often been ignored. The responsibility sits with the treasurer, right? Well, not quite. It's not a solo job. All of the committee needs to be involved in financial management. Or maybe you have a finance subcommittee with members and helpers. This is where governance comes in. How does your committee govern? For or with? If you govern for, you're doing that on behalf of the group. If you govern with, you're including the group in those decisions. Either can work. It depends on your ground rules. And this is where the model rules, which used to be called the Constitution, come into play. If you need guidance on this, have a look at your model rules. Or have a look at the model rules for an incorporated association if you can't find your own. There's a link to them in the resources section that I mentioned earlier on the web page where you found this training. If you look at the model rules, have a look at part 5, which is about the committee, and part 6, which is about financial matters. So how does financial reporting look in your group? Probably the treasurer reports the ins and outs and tells you how you're tracking. Maybe they provide that in writing, maybe not. Does this sound familiar? Maybe you know how much you've got in the bank, maybe not. Maybe you've got money invested, do you know? And how much? I mean, how hard can it be? We're just a club, right? What does good financial monitoring and reporting look like anyway? Before we get to the monitoring and reporting, we'll look at how you keep your records. This is just an example of what they can look like. This example is just the income for the month of August at a football club. This level of detail should be provided. You can see all of the categories, but only some have had money coming in. Here's a monthly report of balances, the balance sheet. It's how much money we have in the bank. Each bank account should match the statement, and the bank statement should match the balance sheet. This is important because it helps you get a picture of how you're travelling. Some months there's more going out than in, but you'll develop an understanding of the cash flows as you get familiar with it all. These reports are in the resources as an example. There's a monthly income and expenditure sheet, and there's a monthly balance sheet. You've always got options about the way you keep your books. For some, there have been ledgers. Down there on the bottom left, it literally was the book, although that's rare nowadays. For many, there are Excel spreadsheets, and they work. For some groups, there are online packages. The online packages allow for the committee to have access so that they can see anytime, in real time, with links to bank accounts and links to your own accounting. As an example, each of these packages, and there are only 2 of them, are in the order of $25 to $30 a month for a smallish group. That's quite a bit of money for a small group. So maybe you want to think about getting a sponsor. Maybe a local accounting firm that will have this stuff could offer you free access to to a set of accounts, and maybe even help you keep your books as part of their sponsorship. But if you don't have many transactions, maybe it's not worth it. It's your call. Whether you have a few transactions each month or a lot, the principles I'll walk you through remain the same. A committee needs to keep an eye on the finances. A tabled report at committee meetings, I would suggest, is the bare minimum, and you should include income, expenditure, and a bank statement. The income and expenditure should appear straightforward, but ask any questions if you're not sure. The treasurer may even be rapt that you're interested. The monthly balance and the bank statement must equal the same. This should happen monthly or whenever you meet, and always match the bank statements. If you get this monthly, the annual reports are a breeze because you've verified the accounts as you go along, month by month. Again, examples of annual accounts are in the resources section on the web page where you found this presentation. Does all of this monitoring mean we don't trust the treasurer? It's actually not about distrust. It's about supporting the treasurer. How can you support the treasurer if you don't understand what they're doing for you? In a very small number of cases, without committee interest and involvement, for some, there can be a temptation there. I'll tell you a story, and sadly, it's true. It revolves around a senior citizens club in a small country town. At the end of the year, there was an audit of accounts, and $6,000 was missing. How did that happen? The committee asked for help. I met with the committee and discussed their governance, and could see that the committee had actually played a part in this. The treasurer's report, well, each month there was a reading of the ins and outs. the report and the balance. The ins and outs were all real. The committee had approved the spending and they had receipted the cash taken. But there were never any bank statements tabled at the meetings. The treasurer was well known and well loved, completely trusted, and sadly had a pokey addiction that no one knew about. And $6,000 was gone. What happened next? Well, the treasurer's partner kept the car keys until the money was paid back. That was more good luck than good management because the money was paid back. And this is not a happy ever after story. The treasurer lost a lot of friends and the seniors were torn apart for a while. And that's just one story. Not to mention a kindergarten treasurer's disappearance with the fridge and $10,000. Only one signature was needed on the cheques, and that's a different governance issue. So, support your treasurer, trust them, and verify that trust, and just keep doing it. It's a good way to live, actually. Start from trust, grow that trust, and keep verifying. Those around you will know you're interested. So monitoring, this is really important. So here it is again. Help your club, help your treasurer. Trust your treasurer, show your interest, ask questions, and develop faith. And make sure that the bank statement matches the books. Often a group will have a peak body. And if you do, they'll have resources and advice as well. You may know another group that seems to run well, so why not ask them how they do it? And council has a staff member to support volunteering across the Shire. There's the details. Feel free to contact. We hope this has helped. Thanks.